5 News starts with breaking news.
We begin with a deadly plane crash just miles from Drake Field in Fayetteville. It left one man dead.
5 News was first on scene. It happened just before 6 this evening in southeast Fayetteville off of East Black Oak Road. 5 News reporter Rachel Williams is there now. And Rachel, what have we learned?
Sadly, the pilot was the only person on the plane and he died in the crash. The Washington County Sheriff's Office tells us the pilot was 43-year-old Lewis Brett Barnes of Taneytown. The Round Mountain Fire Chief says the homeowner found the plane crashed several hundred yards behind their home in a field and then called 911. Fire Chief Shane Wood tells me his assistant chief was the first on the scene and established command. It's believed that Lewis Brett Barnes took off from Drake Field earlier today in his small Bonanza plane, headed to Stuttgart Airport east of Little Rock. He then was headed back to Drake Field when he crashed here this evening.
Possible plane crash. The property owner called it in. When we arrived, we found a small passenger plane that had crashed with one person on board. That was a fatality.
Multiple units were called to assist aside from the Round Mountain Fire Department, Washington County Sheriff's Office, Fayetteville Fire Department, Washington County Urban Search and Rescue, and Central EMS. In a Facebook post, the Sheriff's Department also asked for the community to keep the pilot's family and friends in your prayers. And tonight, we know that the Washington County Sheriff's detectives, the NTSB, along with the FAA, will be investigating the crash. And I spoke to the FAA within the last hour, and they said they should have the first incident report within the next couple of days. But for now, I'm in Washington County, covering news where you live. Rachel Williams, 5 News.
News at 10.
But first, we want to get straight to this. We are continuing to follow a story about a plane that crashed that left one man dead Friday evening. Thanks for joining us for your 5 News at 10. I'm Michael Wilson. First responders answered to a report of a plane crash in southeast Fayetteville last night, just before 6 p.m. Now, it is believed that Lewis Brett Barnes was returning to Drake Field from a flight in Stuttgart. 5 News reporter Rachel Williams, she's been following this story from the beginning. Rachel.
Micah, local detectives, the National Transportation Safety Bureau, and the Federation Aviation Administration are all now investigating the crash, and the FAA is expected to post an incident report early next week. 5 News was first on the scene last night, but today I got to talk with people who knew and worked with Barnes.
He will be remembered forever for sure. He's just gone too soon, and that breaks my heart.
They tell me he was a father, husband, entrepreneur, and a philanthropist. He was involved in aviation, real estate, restaurants, and insurance companies, and even had a knack for pizza.
My name is Brant Barnes, and I've been a franchisee for 13 years. Pizza is special to me because it amazes me how much it can bring people together and how much a smile it can put on a kid's faces.
He left his mark on the community by giving back, partnering with charities like the Salvation Army. Major Nick Garrison released a statement to 5 News saying, in part, "We are sorry to hear of this tragic passing. Brant Barnes had a kind heart of giving to the community." I spoke with Jared Chronister, Barnes' former business partner in a Papa John's pizza franchise. What was Brant like as a person?
Brant was a great guy. Anytime Brant would come by, he would always had so much energy, so much passion with everything he did. It just really breaks my heart. I mean, he's just gone too soon.
What was it like to have someone give you another chance at your life?
He knew my whole story, and he looked past that and gave me a chance. Because of him, I've been able to turn my life around. My wife, she's my assistant manager here with me. We just had a baby. We have a home. We have everything we've ever dreamed of because of Brant.
Chronister tells 5 News he was in drug court a few years ago, and he says he thought his career was over, but Barnes helped pick up the pieces.
But he knew about my past. When I first interviewed, I was like, "Here's full disclosure, here's what happened in the past." And they just asked me about it, and they were like, "You know what, we were on the fence, but we're gonna give you a chance," and I'm forever grateful for that.
Across social media, people are mourning his loss, expressing how positive he was, and he will greatly be missed.
He always took time to help people out, and I love that about him, and I really would miss that.
Once the FAA releases their initial report, we're hoping to tell you more about what may have caused this tragic crash. Rachel Williams, 5 News.
We have breaking news from Suffolk to start things off here tonight at 6. 2 people died after their plane crashed in the city. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm John Dowding. Virginia State Police say it happened around 12:15 this afternoon off Carolina Road. Video from the scene on your screen right there shows large amounts of smoke in the air near where the small passenger plane crashed. Crews found the small plane fully engulfed in flames when they arrived. The FAA and the National Transportation Safety Board will be investigating. Suffolk Fire and Rescue said the fire from the crash was spreading across the roughly 35 acres of open field and forest. The fire was marked under control at around 3:45 this afternoon. Now check back for updates on this story on air, online.
Well, now to a story in Suffolk where a plane crash killed 2 people. It happened this afternoon off Carolina Road. That's in the southern part of the city, not far from the Suffolk Executive Airport. The crash sparked a fire that took hours to put out, and Brenna McIntosh went to that area and shares what we know.
A spokesperson with Suffolk Fire and Rescue said the small plane crashed just 2 miles from the North Carolina border. That crash led to a large brush fire, which left some residents concerned for their homes.
We heard a boom, and I looked at my mother and I asked her, what was that?
For Kimberly Ellis, it's not unusual to see planes fly over her home off Carolina Road in Suffolk. But she and her neighbors were shocked after a plane crashed within eyesight of their front doors.
You know, those houses right there, we drive past that every single day. So to see that whole field back there, it was just crazy.
Virginia State Police say a small passenger plane crashed in a field around 12:15 p.m., killing 2 people. A spokesperson with Suffolk Fire and Rescue says a brush fire spread across 35 acres, forcing some residents nearby to evacuate. Ellis has lived in Suffolk her whole life. She says the fire worried her, citing a months-long fire in the Great Dismal Swamp more than a decade ago.
My parents were really worried about that because they kept popping up, but it lasted for such a long time.
Suffolk fire crews said they got the fire under control around 3:45 Saturday. Ellis hopes they monitor the situation overnight.
And I'm hoping and praying that everybody on the scene over there, somebody will be watching it overnight to be sure that our community around here is safe.
All neighbors I spoke to shared one sentiment. Their thoughts and prayers are with the victims' families. In Suffolk, Brenna McIntosh, 13 News Now.
And Virginia State Police now say 54-year-old Christian Fachad and 53-year-old Eric Bergevin died in that crash. Both are from North Carolina.
From a plane crash in southwest Iowa. The Iowa Department of Public Safety says just before 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon, the plane took off from the Adams County Airport outside of Corning. Investigators believe the plane struck a power line during takeoff, causing the crash. The pilot was the only person on board and died at the scene. The FAA is investigating the incident.